And now back to the Gunsmith Show with John and Jake Smith.
All right, I am back on the air. It feels good to be in front of the microphone on Saturday mornings. Kind of takes all the stress of the week away, and I hope you guys enjoy having us on the air. We'd love to hear from you. Jacob's online right now with a caller, actually, discussing a gun. So I will get the show back and rolling. Now, remember, we are giving away these Safari Club International Outfitters Expo tickets. He's been on the phone giving some away here, so get them while you can. We do have a stack left, so I'd love to have you out there this Friday at the Expo. And we're giving them away in pairs. If you need more, we could give you more if you want to bring the whole family. Now, we got something else I want to tell you about, too. Now, next Saturday night, March 8th, this is the big one. This is Safari Club International's regional dinner, the Wild Game Dinner and fundraiser. This is going to be at Pirani Event Center. These are $75 a person tickets, and I have a pair of them right here. And I would love, we're going to be there. Jake and I are going to be there, and if you can come, you'll be sitting with us at the table. And this is at the Wild Game Dinner next Saturday night. You got to be able to make it there. Doors open at 3 p.m. Cash bar opens at 3 p.m. Dinner at 5:30 p.m. Live auction at 7 p.m. Pirani Arena in Event Center next Saturday. I've got 2 tickets in my hand, so if you'd like to try for those, why don't you give us a call right here on the studio line, 743-8255, and you'll have dinner with us next Saturday night.
I think you're going to have to answer a question, though.
Uh-oh.
You got to make it a little harder on them.
You want to make it harder on them?
Well, make it so, like, hey, what's your favorite gun? Hey,
Well, we can always say, I won't give you these until you tell us what your favorite gun is.
Yeah.
And maybe you might even get a couple of Gunsmith Show coffee mugs out of it.
You can pull the famous Dan Foley test. Are you ready? You passed.
You passed the test. That's a good one.
All right, but we're talking about the 380.
Yep.
And, it's quite honestly, is it popular? Extremely. It's been popular since 1908.
Try to buy ammunition
when
for it.
Colt first put it in a handgun. And it's a Browning design, as everything was before 1920.
I think Browning had quite a handle on the gun market in this country.
I think so. Interesting story about why Browning went to Colt and Winchester was because he was in the waiting room to meet with the president of Remington while the president of Remington had a heart attack and died in his office.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Interesting story.
And so that's why Winchester and Colt have the Browning designs.
Awesome. Well, and things like that happen. And Remington's tried to do some things with that, and they've got it. Didn't Remington just come out with a 9mm again? Jacob?
Yes.
And what did you think of that one?
Well, it's different.
It is different. I don't know if I like it or not. I haven't held one yet.
I haven't held one yet. It looks to me, honestly, when I saw it at first, I thought it was a new Ruger LC9.
Yeah.
It looks the same thing. It's a plastic frame, polymer grip, small concealable handgun. But the 380, it comes in many different names. And seeing these is like, I've seen, you see these old guns chambered in, 9mm or whatever.
Yeah.
But 380, it's a 9mm bullet.
Okay.
So that's how it gets these names. The 9mm Browning, the 9mm Kurz, Kurz.
Right.
The 9mm Corto, which you see a lot of guns from South America chambered in that.
Sure.
And then the 9x17mm, which is the metric
equivalent
to
of what it is.
Yep.
All right. Now, 380s are in high demand because, like I said to Jacob, just try to get the ammo.
Yeah.
And it has been limited for 2 years and very hard to get. Yep. And we kind of laughed a couple weeks ago, Big Steve and I out at Williams when the new Glock came out, the new 380 Glock, and it is a really, really cool little pistol.
Yeah.
In just the right size. And, whenever Glock comes out with something, it's so well thought out that, I had a lot of faith in looking at that gun saying, if I'm going to buy one, I'm probably going to buy this one. And then that little thing in my head clicks back on because I'm a reloader. 380s are so short, they're hard to reload. They're hard for me to reload. 9mm are hard for me to reload. And it's just been a just kind of an odd situation with these 9mm that Jacob has chewed me out several times saying,
I remember when
you said you'd never reload 9mm.
You sold your Glock 17 for a Glock 21 and you said, I'll never get a 9mm because I don't want to reload something that small. I'm always going to reload 45s. Then also I was like, hey, I got an idea. Let's get 9mm.
And we did. And we have a blast with them.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I'm not saying we don't.
We do real good with the 9mm. We have a lot of fun, and they are enjoyable to shoot. And the 380s are probably the same way. I would just want it in a very comfortable platform that I'm happy with.
Right. Well, that's what the 380s kind of intended for. Now, it's different because, well, we all know it's a straight-walled cartridge. It's rimless. It's made for a handgun.
It's the 380 automatic Colt pistol round. I mean, it's a smart round. It works, and it's basically the equivalent of a 38 special.
Yep. Well, it's
very similar.
Yep. It's got very low pressure.
Yes.
So it means the barrel does not need a locking mechanism, which means that whole key right there means a lot of things.
It keeps the machining cost down on the gun. Correctly?
Right.
Is that a way to put it?
Yeah, that's one of them. There's a guide spring on it.
Okay.
And that offers enough of a buffer for the slide, just the guide spring, that you don't need that locking mechanism. Which keeps the cost down, which lets the barrel be permanently fixed to the frame of the handgun.
So it should be a fairly accurate gun, too.
As long as it's fixed the right way.
Yeah. As long as that got it fixed it good.
Weld straight. So basically you've got the gun that it doesn't need a locking mechanism, which means it's lighter.
Okay.
The guide spring is enough of a buffer, which means it's lighter because that's all you need. It's fixed to the frame, which means the barrel's pretty much steady.
Mm-hmm.
And because of all of this, it makes it have a lower cost, which is true. You look at these little Kel-Tecs for what was it, $239? Was that one for sale?
Yeah.
I think I'm just flipping back. $239.95 for a quality 380.
Yeah, I think Kel-Tecs are pretty good quality guns.
Yeah, but you look at anything else, go try to find a 45 Kel-Tec for that price.
They don't make them.
Because they require too much buffering and strength.
Mm-hmm.
So is it good because it's a smaller round? Yeah, maybe. Because it's lighter, it doesn't need so much, and that's what makes them lower cost.
Months ago, just to talk about 380 for just a second. Months ago, we went through a in-depth discussion on, unfortunately, the shooting and incapacitating number of shots it takes to incapacitate somebody.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a morbid discussion, but it was a good discussion. And it was through the L.A. Police Department, and we went through line by line.
It was like the past 200 or the past 1,000 people that have been
shot in L.A. and how many shots it took to incapacitate them. And just about every single round was more than, every cartridge was more than one round. It took in the difference between the 380 and like the 357 Magnum was basically not very much.
No, it's not much at all.
It's like 1.7 rounds, so to 1.9 rounds or something. It was a very, very minimal, very minimal difference.
It's basically just slightly less than a 38 special.
Yep, pressure-wise.
That's pressure-wise, everything. It's slightly less than a 38 special. So if you're comfortable shooting a 38 special, chances are you're going to be comfortable shooting a 380.
Very well put.
Now, it's a 9x17 is the 9mm. I'm sorry, it's the 380 is the 9x17. There is a 9x18, which is what
Makarov.
You see in the Russian Makarovs and some of the Polish handguns.
It's a popular gun, boy, I tell you what.
Because it's communist block ammo that is still readily available and millions of rounds of it.
It was like their NATO rounds.
Every officer's handgun was in this, And we changed from... Well, we all had 45s. They had 9x18s.
Right.
So, and then you have the 9x19,
which is your Luger,
and then you have a 9x21,
which is a nice one.
Yeah. So this is kind of this is like the baby 9. We'll call it the baby 9.
It's that's well put. I don't think they can make it any shorter. It probably wouldn't work.
No, maybe
we'll just get a slingshot.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's the powder? Oh, there isn't any. It just goes by the
primer.
When you pull the trigger, the primer, the gases from the primer send the bullet out the barrel.
Yeah.
And we were looking up different ammo, and the bullet weights on these 380s vary a lot. You've got 80s, 85s,
They've got
90s,
some of these new
95s.
frangibles and stuff.
I saw like 103 grain bullet.
Yeah, very odd size. And with that 355, it's they're a normal 9mm bullet honestly is a 356 for reloading purposes.
Right.
Then the 380s are all 355s, and they're designed. They are smaller bullets. I've tried shooting some of them through 9mm. They don't shoot as good.
Right.
They don't function as well. They're pretty light, and the 9mm are designed for I think a little heavier bullet. But pressure-wise is what makes these guns work, because they're almost all blowback action.
Yep.
And they have to have a certain amount of pressure, so they have to be loaded precisely, as all loads do. But revolvers, say a 38 Special, is more forgiving because a lighter pressure round is still going to push it through that 2-inch barrel of a.
Yeah.
But in this gun, you have to have it set the gun properly cycles.
Exactly.
And one of the biggest problems you're going to see with these guns is people say, my 380 doesn't work good. You cannot, and this is very important, folks, you cannot limp wrist a 380. Okay, now what that means is you have to hold the gun tightly. So you can't just give it a tweezer squeeze and pull the trigger. The gun it'll stovepipe, or it won't eject the shell, because it's designed for you to hold that gun very sturdily to pull the trigger. Okay, so you got to have a grip on it. If you grip it properly, and remember, this is a semi-automatic, so the slide's going to come back. Make sure you don't put that thumb over top of underneath your slide. You get your bite. You hold the gun right, it'll usually work good. They're fairly simple. You keep them clean, and just because they're pocket guns doesn't mean you throw them in your pocket. Okay,
Right.
You still should have a holster or a sleeve to put them in to stop your pocket lint and dirt from getting in these guns.
Yep.
People carry these things, and they day after day they pull them out of their pocket, put them on the dresser, get ready the next day, go to work, put it back in their pocket. Take time to clean your self-defense gun and make sure it works. And of course, all safety, it's always loaded. Be very, very careful. So on that note, that's all I got to say about that. So what's up next, Jake? I know you guys have been giving away tickets over there.
We've been giving away tickets like mad here. Give us a call in the studio if you want tickets to the Outfitter Expo. 810-743-8255.
All right. Sounds good. Let's go to commercial break. We'll be back in just a minute with a lot more Gunsmith Show.